name is Tony Shellman. For some of you who don't know me, and for the ones who you do know me, I'm a fashion person. But tonight's not about me. It's about Eric. Eric and I go way back many years, at least 15 plus. I think I was about 19 or something like that, just saying. But there's plenty of stories I can tell you about Eric, and I can go on for days, but since y'all gave me a minute to talk, I'm gonna tell you a minute with their stories. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, starting with the main story with working in 1466, Eric Archibald coming to my showroom, talking about, let me get this, let me get that. And then I'm working with some of the celebrities that come through. Fortunately, I was very fortunate to work with them. But I just happened to be one day working with Puff Daddy, and Eric walks in the showroom and like, what is he wearing? Puff looked over like, who's that? I was like, that's Eric. What he said was great, so keep it moving. So my main thing is that we go so far back, but my main thing about you, Eric, is all your amazing accomplishments, all the amazing things you've done, from covers of Vogue to GQ, you name it, you've done some amazing work. I honestly sit back and look back at all your stuff that you've done, your body of work, and I'm just honestly, I'm in awe. I say, wow, I can't believe I'm friends with him. At least that's what I say. I don't know if you say that, but my main thing is that, no, you've been amazing inspiration, and you've done amazing work in this game of fashion. And I remember watching you at 1466, coming to the showroom, we worked together, and you're like, some of the funniest things would be like, you were a trendsetter. You were trending before trending was a thing. You'd come in there, I'd be in there with my baggy jeans on, my dreadlocks. Yes, I had dreadlocks, there was hair up here, folks. And Eric would come in there with something that was 10 times too tight. I'd be like, you can really wear that. And you know, the main thing about his fashions were they were so incredible. Eric saw things that none of us could see. I thought I was doing something until I saw his fashions on the runway. I saw his fashions in the magazines. I saw his fashions return to celebrities. That was just a few things of what he was doing with us and working and trying to keep it pushing. Eric was assistant. Eric was a head stylist. Eric was a part-time assistant. Eric was a part-time stylist. The thing for me is that he never cowered around his work. He was always a leader. So if he was going to pick up the clothes, he picked them up on time. He'd manage them properly. He'd steam them. I've seen him do all the work, and to me that was amazing. Even with all the amazing work that he's done, he still takes a very humble approach about it and is very strong about his work. I will hurry and keep it pushing. I'm almost done. But the main thing about Eric is that truly he's a humble guy from St. Albans, I can read it. St. Albans, Queens. Queens, get the money, y'all in here for Queens. He's a humble guy from St. Albans, Queens, that's done amazing things. From simple things from, I don't know, dancing on the streets with Captain Gabbana, like in Dolce Gabbana. I'm like, yeah, I know about that story, bro. And he's just been all over the world, from many fashion shows, from Milan, Paris, New York, LA, and has participated in all that. So for me, he's an icon. For me, he's a guy I look up to. For me, he's a guy that most likely, how could you not give him Stylist of the Year award? So Eric, my great honor, my pleasure to honor you with Stylist of the Year award. Come on up. Cheers to you, brother. Thank you. God bless you. Yeah, please.
Hello everyone. I'm going to make it short and sweet because this is not my platform to talk in public. Thank you, Tony. 1466 Broadway. Back in the day when we were just tweens, and we're still tweens in fashion, fairly young. I'm truly honored and humbled for the experience, Stylist of the Award. Thank you. HFW, HFR, Harlem Fashion Now. I live in Harlem, so this means such importance to me. Over the year of my career, oftentimes, people always ask me what's the key to my success. The ingredient is faith. Faith is very important to me, family and friends, and always a good laugh. There's so many influential people that played a great part in my life. Just to name a few, I'd like to say thank you to Tony Shellman, Okay? Thank you to June Ambrose, who gave me a chance when no one would ever take a chance on me. Thank you to Michael Kenneth Williams, who showed me there's a career in styling which I knew nothing about. Atiba Newsome, We Roll Deep, We Don't Get Any Sleep. Roger McKenzie, Derek Kolak, hanging out in Brooklyn, just deciding that we're going to start our own company. My nephew, I'm so inspired by, who's assisted me, who's no longer assisted me, and is doing so great on his own. Jenna Tyson, who's my executive assistant. Judith Pier, my churchgoer and BFF, who comes over on Sundays and we have the best time. DeAndre Tristan, Lookout World, we started a collection together. Premiere tonight is called Tristan Archibald. I look forward to sharing with you guys in a couple of weeks as we premiere. Juan Watson, my BFF, who sits on my couch every day and drink tequila and laugh. Prasan Polanco, Charlene Consker, her husband Tracy Robbins, and Brian Robles. Lastly and not least is Misa Hilton Brink, who introduced this award to me, and I was like, why me? I mean, I do what I do for the love of fashion, not for any acknowledgement. And to have this, for me, I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
Hello! Happy Fashion Week! How are you all doing? Great. Well, I am so excited to be here and to be able to give the next award to Elaine Welteroth. Yes, the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. So I want to tell you how I came to know Elaine. Because she is relentless, persistent. Does anybody know that about her? Yeah. Very persistent. And I met her because there was an onslaught of communications from her when she had just finished college and wanted to intern with me when I was working to revitalize Ebony magazine. This is back in 2007. And she had to push past my extremely protective assistant in order to get to me. But when she did, the heavens opened up for both of us. So here's what happened. She was in California. She went to school there, is from there. And as a test, I invited Elaine to come to be an intern to work with me as a PA, basically, on a cover shoot that we did with Serena Williams in California. Serena Williams, recent college grad. Could be a recipe for disaster, right? Not at all. This young, very beautiful woman was not a groupie. She instead was super professional and focused the entire time. So I knew I had a winner. I only had to get her 3,000 miles across the country, and we were talking about an internship. So I had to be really creative. Even though she wanted to come, 3,000 miles internship could be difficult. It worked. I convinced her to come to work with me in my department in New York City that had a total of 2 employees. Even though I was the creative director of Ebony, Ebony was in Chicago, so the staff was there. And I said, look, there's just 2 of us, me and an assistant, so you can do anything that we can envision. If you're willing to use your creativity, we can make it happen. And Elaine's first shoot with me, when she's now an employee, as an intern, was working with Michelle Obama, right as Obama was running for president. It was that day, you might remember, when Michelle Obama was on The View. And remember that dress, White House Black Market that sold out? Well, she went from that shoot at The View to us. But she had an entourage of about 12 of her friends, including Valerie Jarrett, who we see on TV all the time. And this was before Mrs. Obama was a seasoned cover model. So Elaine's job was to distract the ladies and help them to be comfortable. And she did. Remember, she was not even 20 years old at this point. Elaine then worked with me and learned all about the beauty industry. She met everybody she could. One of the things that she did, because we had no budget, we were just backstage, she had it in her mind that we should have video on the Ebony website backstage at Fashion Week. So she convinced someone she had met, who was a videographer at MTV, to do video for Ebony for free. And suddenly, Ebony magazine had this incredible presence on our website from Fashion Week that even some of the big mainstream magazines didn't have. Well, that drive, that creativity, that understanding that you can do any creative thing that you put your mind to, helped Elaine to break the mold. What mold? Going from a traditional African American publication to a huge mainstream publication. It doesn't happen very often. She made the leap from ebony to glamour, and not in the first level position, in a senior position. And then she went from glamour to Teen Vogue in a very high position in 2012, covering beauty and health. And just a few months ago, she became the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue magazine. Yes. And as the editor-in-chief, she became the youngest person to assume that role, the only African-American, the first, let's say, African-American to assume that role at that publication, and only the second at Condé Nast to ever assume the role of editor-in-chief. And guess what, y'all? She's mine. I found her. She found me. And I am so excited to give her the Editor of the Year award. And one of the things that I wrote was that Elaine reminds me a lot of our current president, who we're going to love and wish we had forever in about 2 seconds, because she has similar parentage and a similar journey. As a very young, creative person, she has had to navigate the issues of youth, race, class, and creativity in her career that's now a little over 10 years. She's still at the beginning, doing it with a level of grace that we all wish that we could embody. So my baby, Elaine Welteroth, I'm very proud to give the Harlem's Fashion Road Editor of the Year award. Come on, girl.
Cry tonight. I knew it, so I went ahead and wrote my speech down. Harriet, I cannot thank you enough. You really have, this was the woman who opened the door for me, and I wouldn't be on this stage without you. So it's impossible for me to even reflect on my journey to the stage without paying respect to the woman, the Black woman, who opened the door for me first. So Harriet, thank you. And Brenda, thank you so much for this absolutely humbling, incredible honor. So, for those of you who don't know who Harriet Cole is, let me just give you a little background. In addition to being a visionary editor, a best-selling author, a designer, a mother, a wife, I like to call her my fairy career godmother. As she mentioned, it was Harriet who many years ago took a chance on a 20-year-old girl from the Bay Area who was the first person in her family to graduate from college, someone who had no career, no connections in the city, no connections in the fashion industry, but a relentless obsession with magazines and a drive to one day be an editor. But I would have had that dream if I didn't have the example that was set before me with Harriet. So when I found Harriet, I tracked her down. I called her, I emailed her, I followed up with her assistant. I was not taking no, she was gonna take a 15-minute phone call from me, or I was gonna fly to New York and we were gonna have some coffee. So, and the reason I did that is because for me, Harriet validated my dream. I saw someone that I could relate to, that I could aspire to be like. And when you gave me that opportunity, Harriet, you changed my life. You really did. So I have to give credit where credit's due. And I could say that the rest is history. Boom, I made it. You know, thank you for my award, good night everybody. But I think that the truth is, you know, success is measured by these moments. We often think like, oh, this is success, this stage, having this opportunity to share this speech with you guys. But the truth is that success is really measured by those hard, late nights, and overcoming obstacles, and finding creative solutions, being scrappy, you know? It's the teamwork. The meltdowns. We've all had them, right? We've all had the meltdowns. And so what I want to say tonight is that excellence is a decision, but it takes the constant nurturing from a tribe and a community that believes in you and uplifts you. And I want to thank Harlem Fashion Row for being that, not just for me, but for countless African American designers who are so worthy of the shine that you're giving them. And I also want to say that I'm eternally grateful for my incredible team at Teen Vogue. They're not here today, but I stand up here and I represent all of them because I couldn't do what I do without them. And to Condé Nast for not only recognizing and rewarding my hard work and my tenacity and creativity, but really for giving me the opportunity, empowering me as a leader. And I want to say that Teen Vogue is a brand that understands the power of representation, the power of what it means for a young brown girl to be able to look up and see someone who looks like her in a position of power to say, I could do that too. That was me with Harriet, and so this is a full circle moment that you're giving me, Brandeis, to be able to stand up here and have that platform. It means so much to me. It means so much to me. So thank you, Brandeis. Yeah, and I just have to say, especially at a time like this, when our world is so colored by social injustice, by violence, by deep political divides, I think there's never been a more important moment than now to be at a place like Teen Vogue that empowers, that inspires, that enlightens young girls, and hopefully gives them an example to know that no matter where they came from, they can make it happen. So thank you again, and thank you guys all for coming.
Hi, thank you everyone. I'm glad to be here tonight. I'm here to present the award to a young man like Elaine. I think there are people who have callings to do certain things. And we all could want to do certain things, but it doesn't always happen to us. But this young man came into my office in 1996. He had just graduated from Morehouse. He basically wanted to have a job, and my office was Beth Ann Management. It was in 36 North Moore. It was a model agency. And we just talked. I liked him a lot, but I couldn't hire him because I had no space for him. I couldn't afford to do it at the time. I had my staff was full. I never saw him again, but let me say, one thing that sort of held us in the conversation was that he lived in a town that no one ever heard of called Booton, New Jersey. And I was the only other person I thought that knew Booton, New Jersey. And when we talked, and he said that, yeah, I lived in a place that no one ever heard of called Booton. I had been to Booton. So that kept me always remembering him, and I didn't see him again for another 5 years. When I saw him, he was working for IMG, and he had been working with them from the time he left my office. He was hired by that company. He got me here tonight because he's someone who's very special. I think Elaine is special. I think he's very special. He's special because he's well raised. He's smart about how to do the business that we do. Because the business that we do, when it comes down to managing models, you really should be smart. We don't have a lot of smart people out there anymore. You've been meeting them, haven't you? Yeah, they're out there. So when you meet someone really smart and know how to really manage and do things proper and seem like they've had some background in an office, I was really happy to see this young man again. And he reminded me that I was the one that he really wanted to work for, but he wound up going to this company, and he was from Booton, New Jersey. So this story I tell you now is because I watched this young man grow, be smart, and at one point, there was a girl that I knew that really deserved to have an opportunity that she wasn't getting in the office that she was working in. She was a model. She was being represented by another company. And the thing that meant a lot to me was that I believed in this young man. I watched how he worked. I saw his ethics. I saw his stamina. I saw how he reminded me of myself in a lot of ways, too, how I worked. And so I told this young lady, if you go to this young man, change agencies, I'm telling you, your career is going to go. And she said, no, this agency's too big, people told her don't do it. But I convinced her. She trusted me, she didn't listen to the others. She became the #1 model in the world. This young man has talent. I'm very proud to be here tonight. Only he could have gotten me here tonight. And he's someone that really means a great deal to me. I refer to him truly as one of my sons. But he's really, achieved a great deal. And he was able to leave the company he was at for 19 years. And he moved on to a company and became the president. And I was very proud. He called me to tell me that he was going to make that move. I encouraged him greatly. I'm very proud of him. And I'm very pleased to see someone so young, to me, young, to be able to run a company and let them allow him to do it. They believed in him. They said he was one of the best agents in the world. So there he goes. So I'm going to bring him out here now. But first of all, I want to thank Brandis very much for being so steadfast with this organization. And really, right? Steadfast. I was telling her, I said, I remember the first event she had, I thought it was 10 years ago, but when she said 9, I guess well. The first event she had, the amount of people that were in the back, I think in the back is about what filled up that space. To see so many people now coming out and being supportive as she supports and gives this opportunity, I'm very proud. Proud for her to give the award to Elaine, proud for her to give the award to Hagler, who I'm very proud to say I'm his other mother. This is the Trailblazer Award given by Harlem.
Hi everyone. I'm young in my head back then, thank you very much. Anyway, thank you to Brandis and the Harlem Fashion Row and my dear friend Emil Wilbekin for this tremendous honor. And congratulations to my fellow honorees and friends, actually, for all of your accomplishments. You have to forgive me, I'm not used to being thrust into the spotlight. My career as a manager and a talent and president of the management firm Next is predicated on being behind the scenes, encouraging my talent to unleash their specialized greatness on the world. I often ask myself, how did a young man from New Jersey, small town in New Jersey, end up here, and why me? Did I win the lottery and luck up on a career that I am passionate about? Did the stars align to allow me to see that life is always filled with possibility? I mean, maybe. I was fortunate enough to be born to a mother, Rhonda Hagler, MD, who I'm very happy to have here tonight. Who is she's pretty amazing. Who as a single mother of 2 boys managed to lead by example and finish college, graduate medical school with honors, become a professor of medicine, and open up her own practice, her own medical practice, never once caving in to the pressures of motherhood. Social expectation to fail, and ever-changing times. I was blessed with a grandmother, Mary Frazier, who, may she rest in peace, was a visionary enough to know that I, at a very young age, had an affinity for fashion. She made me aware of fashion in her own way by directing me to a news story about an incredible designer by the name of Patrick Kelly, who was making a huge splash in Paris at the time. That was my first memory of being intrigued to see people who looked like me in an integral role in this mammoth industry called fashion. I had an uncle who took me at the tender age of 10 to Barney's for the first time, where I bought my first high fashion garments designed by the late great Willie Smith, who back then was an integral part of. I was able to go to a college filled with legacy, ambitious, inspired, and inspirational people called Morehouse College. There I learned awareness and appreciation of self, strategy, and business savvy. But what does this all mean if you have no access to an industry for which you have every desire to be a part of? Your dream not only gets deferred, but it gets killed. Thankfully, I was able to cross paths with people who generously extended their hand to me, pulling me into a world that I longed to be in. One of those women, Beth Ann Hardison, who graciously presented me the award tonight, with all of her accomplishments as a model, a muse, a manager of talent, could very well have turned a blind eye to me in all of my naivete and infancy. But she became one of my biggest supporters, one of my best advisors, and one of my closest friends. Bobby Moraes, my first boss in a modeling agency in Atlanta, Georgia, pushed me out of the proverbial nest and sent me to New York to meet with agencies like Elite and Ford and IMG, as well as magazines like Vogue and GQ, forcing me to see the possibilities in myself to succeed in fashion. I commend Harlem's Fashion Row on being the resource for African American design talent and by giving them access and being able to allow them the opportunity to pursue their dreams. People ask, what do I love most about my career? And I say it's really about the opportunity to help women realize professional dreams beyond their wildest imagination. I've always been a huge proponent of developing and encouraging creative talent of color to ascend to levels within fashion where they become the decision makers and are able to influence how image is manifested in media. Diversity can only be achieved in fashion and image when there's a diverse voice of people in design, photography, styling, art, direction, management, and art buying present in the conversation in abundance. Everyone in this room must harness the spirit of giving back and understand that their individual voice from that very small town somewhere in the world can create a movement. That movement will evoke change, and that change will lead to our evolution as a people. Thank you to all the trailblazers that inspire me on a daily basis. My mother, Beth Ann Hardison, Anais Mali, and Riley Montana, who joined me tonight, who are hiding behind the thing because I was so stressed out. And the countless clients, friends, business partners that allow me the possibility not only to see the possibility in my business of fashion, which I never thought I would be a part of, but also in life. I do hope that I also am able to continuously help my community thrive in possibility as well. So I thank you all, and I hope that you all just really go after your dreams. I think for those of you who have experienced success in this business, you have a responsibility to help those who are starting out, who want to be a part of this business, that have what it takes to get into this business. Because you can be as talented as you are, but if you don't have the access, it'll never happen. And we have to do it.
Our next honoree was actually very, very easy for us. Very easy for us. And before I even go into that award, I do want to say something about the awards first. So the awards that all the recipients have received tonight, and all the awards that have ever been given out by Harlem's Fashion Row, were hand sculpted by Jordan Baker, the first African American artist to have a permanent sculpture in Midtown Manhattan, as well as the youngest artist to ever have a permanent piece in New York City. So the awards are a piece of art. There are some people that inspire you just by seeing them live out their passion. Our Icon 360 Award recognizes an influencer that inspires us in the area of philanthropy, entertainment, business, and fashion. Again, when our honoree committee met months ago, there was one name that came up first for this particular award. This man wears many hats. He is a Grammy Award-winning producer and artist, a songwriter, record executive, actor, DJ, art collector, and fashion influencer. He's made hits from the likes of Jay-Z and Beyonce to U2's frontman Bono. Swizz Beatz. He may be known most in the music industry, but his talents stretch much wider. To name a few, as a philanthropist, he recently donated a very significant amount to Pioneer Works, a center for research and experimentation in contemporary culture. He's also helped by serving as Children's Rights Board underprivileged music students from Bronx Charter School.
That's right.
And who can forget the amazing Stranded song that the super producer cranked out together with Jay-Z and Bono. Not only the song itself dope, but it was also made to benefit the Haiti relief efforts. Only some as talented as Swizz Beatz can get Jay-Z and Bono on a track together, right? In 2014, the music genius set out to expand his brand by enrolling in Harvard's Business School Owner President Management Program. Since then, he has teamed up with Bacardi as their global chief creative for culture. His passion for the arts fueled the launch of the Dean Collection, which is a collective of visual arts of whom he collects and supports. The Dean Collection curated the No Commission Art Fair, which is an art and music experience where visual artists sell their work and keep 100% of their sales, which was unheard of in the art space. Lastly, we've admired Swizz Beatz on the many red carpets he's graced with his unmatched fashion sense. He's worked with brands from Christian Louboutin to Bailey's to Reebok as their VP of Sports Style Marketing Design and brand, a music developer. Amazing. For all this reason, this is why Swizz Beatz is our 2016 Icon 360 Award recipient. We are so...
Thank you. Icon, I still got a lot of work to do. But you know, this was a last minute thing, but it was a needed thing because, you know, we can all say that we're busy, and everybody's busy, especially this time of the year. But when Tom Ford calls, people all of a sudden don't become busy. You understand? So when you guys called, I had to make sure I answered that, just like we answered Tom Ford's call. You know, my thing is, we gotta support each other more. You know, a lot of our culture is feeling left out because we don't support our platforms. You understand? And I think it's amazing what you're doing. And, you know, I told Monique, I said, listen, we have to do this. You know, push everything off the schedule and make time for this to happen. And, you know, it was the first day of school for the kids and everything. 6 a.m. in the morning, which, you know, it's a blessing to be recognized for your talents. And, you know, the baby's here too. That's your daughter. She's saying showtime.
Showtime?
But, you know, I've been inspired in fashion since growing up in the South Bronx. You know, even with 5001, you know, designing all those outfits. You know, when you got, you know, Worry in here doing this thing. And you got Ty. You know, so many moments. Oh, they all got awards, see? You know, and I've been in Harlem like it was the Bronx. You know, Harlem and the Bronx was my home. And to be up here in front of so many amazing people, and I do feel that there's a lot of educated people in this field. We just need our chance and our time and the support, and that's why this platform is important. And, you know, I'm going to hold this award with the most, you know, respect and honor, because it is an honor. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'd rather be in front of this crowd right here, because this is real family right here. And this is the message right here. Thank you.